In a kingdom nestled deep within the African savannah, there ruled a king whose greed knew no bounds. King Tamaa was renowned for his opulent palaces adorned with gold and ivory, and his extravagant feasts that could feed a village for a month. Alongside him, his council of advisors, equally wealthy and self-serving, conspired to maintain their lavish lifestyles at the expense of the kingdom's impoverished populace. The people of the kingdom suffered under heavy taxes imposed to fund the king's insatiable desires. Farmers struggled to produce enough crops to feed their families after paying their dues to the royal coffers. Craftsmen found their earnings dwindling as they were taxed on every item they made or sold. The cries of the oppressed reached the heavens, yet the palace walls remained deaf to their plight. One day, a brave young man named Hodari dared to speak out against the injustice. "Why must we starve while the king feasts?" he questioned aloud in the village square. His words spread like wildfire among the downtrodden, sparking a flicker of hope in their hearts. King Tamaa, fearing any challenge to his authority, ordered his soldiers to silence Hodari and quell any uprising. But Hodari's courage had ignited a spirit of resistance. The people, tired of suffering in silence, gathered under the cover of night to plan their revolt. It was clear to the people that the greed of the king knew no bounds. Willing to satiate it at the expense of lives of the people, whether by bloodshed to quell the uprising or through their sweat and blood of their numbered meaningless years and their generations to come. Led by Hodari, they marched to the palace gates, demanding an audience with the king. "We demand fair treatment and an end to these unjust taxes," they cried out in unison. King Tamaa, enraged by their audacity, refused to meet them and instead sent his guards to disperse the crowd. The ensuing clash was fierce, but the people fought with a determination fueled by years of oppression. They outnumbered the palace guards, whose loyalty wavered in the face of such righteous anger. In the midst of the chaos, Hodari and King Tamaa faced each other in a tense standoff. "You cannot silence us any longer, Your Majesty," Hodari declared, his voice unwavering despite the danger. "Your greed has brought suffering upon us all, but no longer shall we bow to tyranny." King Tamaa, cornered and desperate, drew his sword and lunged at Hodari. But before he could strike, one of his own advisors intervened, stepping between them with a solemn expression. "Your Majesty, it's over," the advisor said quietly, his voice heavy with regret. "We cannot continue like this. The people have spoken." Realizing he was outnumbered and seeing the determination in the eyes of his people, King Tamaa lowered his sword. For the first time, he saw the faces of those he had exploited for so long, faces filled with both anger and hope. With a heavy heart, King Tamaa stepped down from his throne that day, relinquishing his crown and his riches. In the aftermath, a new council was formed, one that governed with fairness and compassion. The kingdom flourished as the burdensome taxes were lifted and prosperity returned to the land. And so, the tale of King Tamaa serves as a reminder that even the most powerful must heed the cries of the oppressed. Greed and selfishness can build palaces of splendor, but only empathy and justice can build a kingdom that stands the test of time.